There we go. Good morning. Welcome back to our Tuesday morning trading room. One moment, I shall get the screen share going on. Yesterday turned out to be a very sideways session after the early rally. There were still opportunities to be had, but the market really spending most of the time trending sideways, and I'll show you that here in just a moment. If we take a look at our Eagle Trend Trader, wow, what a sideways kind of day. So we got the early run up, a very strong push, but then the market just kind of fell flat after that. No more participation, neither higher nor lower. Neither the buyers nor sellers could get it together. Well, so the sell signal here on the Eagle printed right out of the open. Hey, way to go, Vic. Vic says, I made it in the room again. I'm on a roll. For those of you new to the trading room, welcome. Please don't be shy about asking questions, or if there's a market you'd like to see, let me know. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Okay, so we're only a couple of minutes into the session. The fur is still flying, if you will, out of the gate here. I'm going to give them a moment to settle in. You can see here on the Hawk micro scalper, got a few yellow bars cropping up. Why do I look for the yellow bars on the Hawk? Well, that tells me that the market might be ranging. It might be going sideways. Trade Forecaster is giving me the same kind of prediction. We're essentially in scalp mode. It says we're in swing mode for another minute, then we're moving into scalp mode. What does that mean for us? Well, it means we're probably going to experience more choppiness, less follow through. We're going to be looking at perhaps taking profits on target versus trying to run a trade out. So we're getting a couple of conflicting signals here now on our Raptor. Like I said, the market's still kind of searching for direction. I suppose we could treat this little opening range as a sideways trading range and just bracket it. That is a possible trade, you know, when you're looking at a market and you can't make heads nor tails of it. You can certainly look at just trying to bracket the trade. I think, ooh, this number 3 signal is running away on me. Doggone it. I was just about to try it to the short side, but it looks like we're going to get another opportunity here. Okay, so I've got the warning dot. I can anticipate the triangle hash mark, which means the complete signal has printed. If the market heads lower, it's going to print right on that low, or the low of the bar that's forming. But now we're retreating from there too, so I'm going to wait for a proper signal. Just out of curiosity, was that far enough to get my profit target? Come on. It would have tagged me a break even. Looks like they just kissed the profit objective and couldn't get any further. Just reset that, it seemed. Oops. And for those of you following crude oil, we're into the next month now. We're trading August crude, or I'm trading August crude. Crude oil is the kind of market that you can trade almost any market you want. It goes out 8 years out, and it's very, very liquid, no pun intended, even if you wanted to trade a year out. The advantage of trading further out is that the ranges will be a little bit smaller. So if you're finding that it's difficult to cover the ranges on the front month, you probably will get smaller ranges a little bit further out. Okay, this might develop into what we call a double pullback signal, and it's a signal that we tried to program into the Raptor, but it did not work. It was just a little bit too complicated for the programming to pick up all the time. Now, I'm going to get ready just to punch in a sell signal here if the signal develops. And I guess I'd better get my stops enabled. There it is. There's the hard edge sell. So come on. What's going on here? Let's try it like that. It's not a limit order. All right. Well, it looks like there's a sell signal developing there anyhow. Oh, what's going on here this morning? Why is my Ninja being uncooperative? All right, gang, bear with me here a second. I'm going to reboot my NinjaTrader. So far the market looks like it's going sideways, but hold on here a second. All right. This usually is a cure-all. If your Ninja is acting up, then a reboot of your software will normally fix you up. Not entirely sure what was going on there. Okay, we'll just give it a moment here and it should repopulate my charts. Okay. There we go. Had me concerned there for a moment. I thought, what the heck is going on with my charts? Where are they? Okay, so we'll just put Trade Manager back on. When you save things as a template, it's usually makes loading your Trade Manager fairly simple. What I mean by a template is here on your trade manager, you have your template manager. So once you get your trade manager settings set up the way that you like them, go here to save and just give it a name. Just type in something, hit the enter key, and you will save your trade manager as a template. So next time you load a chart or even just load your trade manager, you can see it's fairly straightforward. Okay, so we'll just throw trade manager on those. Okay, that should get us by. Okay, let's make sure the little glitch is fixed. Or not. What's going on? Oh, okay, it's fixed.
Order canceled.
Okay, so we saw a little breakout out of our early trading range, kind of expanding the market a little bit. Currently still seeing some bullishness here in the NASDAQ. Okay, things slowing down here a little. The eagle now into the hard edge, producing a red sell dot. That's a warning dot. That's not a sell signal. But we've got the warning dot. I wonder if that's going to develop into a green bar sell. That would give us a lower high. We haven't really breached the lows yet. You see, here's yesterday's lows. Well, lows from the trading range anyways. And that's kind of where we're sitting right now. That's where the buyers came back. Although if I get a sell signal here, I might be persuaded to try to short it. Okay, let's go now to the Raptor. The Raptor cloud a little bit more neutral. You can see we've had a very tiny test to the extreme right here. Some might interpret this as a very prolonged hard edge bounce. So what I'm thinking is we are in scalp mode, of course, and this is typical of scalp mode, but I wonder if this is going to turn out to be like a large bear flag. We're going to see the market break a little bit to the short side. Come on. You know, if you look at a longer term chart like a daily, it's pretty obvious the trend is still up. So what's the point of that, you say? Well, you know, the longer term, it's sometimes easier to stay with the longer term. Geiger counter kind of neutral. We had a little bit of a bearish swing through here. You can see the Geiger counter a little bit heavier here on the short side than the long side. Ooh, the dial was pulling there to the short side for a little bit, to the seller's advantage. Still got that warning dot. Don't have the completed signal, although I can anticipate a signal here with the eagle. I know that if this market finishes lower, I am going to produce a sell signal on the low of that bar. I could perhaps wait for it to take out the ATR. Really? Okay, bear with me here a moment. Okay, I just switched over here to the mini Dow. I still seem to be getting some odd values for the NASDAQ. I don't think it's the software, it might be my data. So let's try going back now to the NASDAQ. Oh, there's that green bar sell I was waiting on. We're getting a first micro macro cross here as well to the short side. Oh, come back here. Doggone it, I'm just going to punch in an order. Yeah, all right, that's what I was afraid of. See, I'm recording values at 1250 a tick. Somehow I've got my data crossed with the E-mini. What's with that? Really?
Order filled.
Okay. Sorry, folks, I need to reboot this one more time. And hopefully... Here's a little tip. When you go to reboot or close, you always get the prompt, do you want to save your workspace? And habitually, you know, they prompt you to do yes, but it's actually to your advantage to do no, unless you've made some significant changes to your workspace. And by that, I mean, like if you just rolled into another contract month and you haven't saved that format yet, then that's what you want to do. You'll want to save it. Otherwise, don't save it, because there is a chance that you may end up corrupting the software. Now, that's not as serious as it sounds, but just a little note to self, you don't always need to save your workspace, only if you've made a change to it. All right, let's try this again. Okay, while I'm waiting for that to populate, here's another little hint. When you save your workspace, all right, it's working too hard here, but when you save your workspace, so you go to save your workspace, oops, do yourself a favor and save a duplicate of your workspace. Yeah, that way, if for whatever reason the first one ever does become corrupted, you'll always have a backup. And you'll get the prompt, of course, that you're overwriting the workspace. And I probably shouldn't have done that before I made sure that all the little glitches were done. Oh, Eric. Okay, let's try this again. So again, the market, a rather large jumbled mess here at the moment. Our cloud really twisted up like a rope. A lot of yellow bars clustering more or less the same price level. It's telling us that we're in a little bit of a sideways market in case you didn't get the memo. And there's our sell signal. Oh, really? Okay, I'm going to have to pretend today. Oh, shoot. And it won't let me close out the order. Well, this is why we have our panic exit button if something isn't working out quite right. Okay, we're going to take a look at shorting this number one signal. Stops should go above the high of the day if you can manage it. Ignore the values you're going to see here because these aren't correct. Oh, maybe it is correct. No, it's not. It's still giving me the 1250 a tick. I'm still getting cross data from here to the E-mini. I've got to give the broker a call. But this looks like a pretty good short, folks. It's a cloud crossover. Now, the elements of the cloud crossover, that's your number one signal. That's a high probability signal. It tends to develop near the beginning of a trend. We're going to have the clouds cross, and it's essentially the first signal where everything is in sync, but it normally requires that when the clouds cross, there's a little bit of a pullback into the cloud, and then the cloud spits the market back out in the new direction. All right, so that's going to be your cloud crossover signal. A little bit early on this one. You know, we do better to short below this low. Kind of gets us outside of this trading range. And we're seeing some buying related here to this trend line. Curtis asked, what are your thoughts on Ninja backup function, on the Ninja backup function? I haven't ever used it. I didn't even know they had a backup function, truth be told, Curtis. This is very rare. I can't say that I've ever had a problem like this with NinjaTrader. Why? I can't tell you why I'm getting the cross data. There we go. So we hit our high probability target. If you're in with another contract, this might be one to try to run out a little bit if you have an additional contract in play. Ryman asks, on your data series, how many days to load? I use 50. The software itself, you don't need 50 days. If you're running the Trade Forecaster, I do believe the Trade Forecaster requires a minimum of 25 days in the data series. I also have 50 days. I don't know why I have that many, but I do. The support and resistance lines require at least 2 weeks of data. That would be 10 days of data. But other than that, you can get by with the defaults. Okay, a little bit more follow through now on the short side. Oh, thanks, Curtis. Okay, for those of you who are curious about the Ninja backup as well, Curtis says go to File, then down to Utilities. Oh, and there's the backup right there. And there's a restore feature. Okay, good to know. I'm not going to play with that right now, but I will check that out if the problem does not resolve itself. Okay, well, one trade for the good guys. Oh yeah, I see the issue here. I'm checking my trades on the TraderView panel, and it's recording it as an E-mini trade. Well, doggone it anyway. That's not right. Yeah, I got a little cross data thing going on. Okay, a little bit more follow through now to the short side. Looks like the sellers are going to get a little bit more serious today. Remember yesterday's session opened on a rather substantial opening gap. I'm not saying we're going to get that low, but things things definitely a little bit more on the bearish side today. So we keep kind of testing the lows from yesterday's trading range, taking a little bit of a bounce now off of the secondary support line here at 57.52 3/4. The buyer's working hard to push this back. Never count the buyers out. Not in the NASDAQ. I tell you, they are a strong bunch of traders. So we're back into the hard edge now. Normally we anticipate a bounce off of the hard edge. We've got a green bar sell signal here in the hawk. So the hawk turning slightly more bullish. This is kind of the last chance the sellers have to push the market lower. And it would be this kind of trade where I'd probably risk it above the last swing, or certainly above the crest in the macro line if you couldn't manage the swing. Again, you need to ignore the values here because they're calculating off of the E-mini for whatever reason. But I'd like to see a slightly better retest of the low here before the market does a full-blown reversal. Hey, way to go, Aspen. Aspen says, got a busy morning. 3 winners, 1 loser, net 230 so far. Not too shabby, Aspen. Well done. I'm just going to try something here. I'm going to try a trade on the E-mini, because if I'm recording trades on the E-mini anyhow, we'll see how that works. If I'm trading the E-mini, shoot. Doggone it, it's not working. Oh, technology. Sorry guys, I broke NinjaTrader. Well, I confess I'm at a little bit of a loss as to what they're doing here right now. The Hawk getting a little bit more bullish. We've got a first micro-macro cross to buy now. We're still in the hard edge of the Eagle band. The Eagle producing a red bar buy signal, which is actually a signal that we're not going to take because of the band is bearish. However, I don't know, the market's really jammed up. It doesn't want to go higher, it doesn't want to go lower. Scout mode forecast for another 36 minutes, and then we are going to move into trend mode. So maybe things will shake out as the morning progresses. go back here to the Raptor for you Raptor traders. Let's see, Russell asked, have you checked your input setting series on the trade manager settings? Oh, there you go. Look at you. That's the problem right there. Nuts, and I just saved all that. And I saved it to my backup file. Doggone it. All right. And how is it going to let me make changes to that? There's no drop-down menu or anything. Yeah, there's the problem, though. You nailed it, Russell. You the man. Shoot. Well, let me edit it. Oh, I got to turn my trade manager off. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, man. Turn my trade manager back on. Oh, look at you, Russell. Russell gets a gold star today. Okay, so if you find yourself in a similar situation and you need to make changes or any changes to your trade manager, remember first you need to turn it off and then you can make changes to it. Oops, and then you got to remember to turn it back on. Enabled, yeah, okay, let's enable it. I wonder if I just removed it and put it back on. Oh, see, that'll do it too. Somehow my file got switched up. So you can either change the settings as Russell suggested, or you could, looks like if you remove it and reinstall it, it works as well. I would have figured it out eventually. Okay, here we go. Hooray. Yeah. Yeah, Tony asked, was your grandson helping Grandpa by adjusting his computer? Usually he fixes things. He usually undoes stuff that I do. And he's only 9. But no, he hasn't been messing around on the computer lately. Yes, I used to laugh at my dad for not being able to program the clock on the VCR. I don't laugh anymore. And for those of you who don't know what a VCR is, I hate you. No, not really. All right, Well, looks like I got the software straightened out just in time. The market making a little bit of a push up here now. We're definitely still range bound. Look at that block of buying and selling. They pretty much offset each other, even though the buyer is giving us a nice strong push there. And now we're on hold again. Oh, it's going to be one of those days where the market just does not want to commit. All right, well, I will take this opportunity to reload my trade manager onto my other charts. Oh my goodness, I've got all kinds of different data series here. I've got the bonds showing up for my E-mini. No wonder things were being so difficult. Okay, so obviously first micro macro cross here worked out all right. The trend change signal here worked out all right. Waiting on a bit of a pullback now to confirm the cloud crossover here on the Raptor. Okay, I think I got everything under control on the tech side of things. The market now looking a little bit more bullish, waiting, like I said, for that cloud crossover to confirm itself. We're starting to print some warning dots. And maybe, just maybe, we'll see The market breached the high of the day. There's, all this sideways trading, whenever you encounter a large sideways session, I'm not just talking about today, but yesterday as well. Let me build you a chart. It might make more sense on a different time frame. So we'll look at, say, I don't know, let's look at a 5-minute chart. Okay, so here's a 5-minute chart now for the NASDAQ. Oops, sorry, I got to eliminate the overnight. Don't need the overnight. Okay. So here now, a 5-minute chart. Here's yesterday's session. The nice big run up and then the market just going sideways. There was a famous trader back in, I guess, the 1940s, 30s and 40s, Richard Wyckoff. If you've done any reading around the whole thing about trading, his name will come up. He identified that the market goes through certain phases. And essentially the phases work like this. Clean off my blackboard. So you have what he called an accumulation phase, which is essentially a sideways phase. Then there's a markup phase, and I'm simplifying this. And then there's another sideways phase, which is called distribution, and then there's a markdown phase. And this is essentially the life of the market. During these phases, before the accumulation and the distribution where you get the markup, you may have some secondary accumulation phases, and likewise on the way down you may have secondary distribution phases. This is why it can all become very convoluted in a hurry. But my point is this: when you see the market trading in a sideways range, you should be thinking, I wonder whether this is a distribution phase. Is this a phase where the market is likely to head lower once it finally goes? Now you can see they attempted to sell off here to break down below the lows unsuccessfully. Now we're getting a little bit of an uptick. But whenever you see a prolonged sideways session, and I didn't load enough data, but you should be thinking that. Now this one turns out that it wasn't a distribution phase. If anything, it spurred the market a little bit higher. But the market will go through these phases all the time. Like I say, just a little something to bear in mind. Yeah. I still have a VCR player. Mr. Buckaloo writes, I cleaned out the garage and found a box full of VCR cassettes. Could not give them to anyone since no one has a VCR anymore. Yes, I too find myself old all of a sudden. I heard this stat a few years ago where I was on the radio announcer said, that people graduating, I think it was high school, not university, although there's really only 4 years difference between the two. Don't know what a floppy drive is, don't know what a pager is, don't know what a VCR is. Oh, don't know what a cassette is, like for a cassette player. Although I'm sure mom or dad probably, mom would have upgraded to the CD player long ago, but dad probably still has his cassette player. Steve, I've found myself in the same dilemma sometimes. Steve says, I missed that nice buy at 1016. I was jerking around looking at car videos. It's trading, when you do it right, it can be very boring. And that's, part of the reason we have the audio prompts. I try to commit myself at least for a couple hours in the morning, but even then sometimes when the market is dull like this, you have a tendency to, do something else, check your email or whatever, and it's hard to stay with it. But focus is a big thing. Yeah, Tony says they don't know what a fountain pen is either. It's fountain pens. Tony, you're dating yourself here a little bit. Fountain pens were out when I was a kid. Oh dear. All right. Well, we're still our trend mode. Unfortunately, not lasting very long. Trade manager says, "Oh, we're in full-on scalp mode again. Waiting on trend mode. So maybe things will shape up a little bit when the market evens out some." Okay, we've got a warning dot here, but our macro line's still out of sync. The Falcon trying to make a trend change signal. Here in scalp mode, you definitely want to be scalping, I think. I think you'll do well to take your profit when you have it. Oh, are we heading into the doldrums already? Usually we don't see this kind of quiet trading until the afternoon session. All right, so I don't know if this is gonna be enough to produce another number one signal. I'm just kind of holding out here. But I'm definitely thinking it could try to retest the lows. You know, here's Tony writes, just for fun today, I put it on sim mode, and I've been scalping on feeling and intuition only, no signals. So far, the P&L shows I'm only down a couple of grand. Oh, man, what a trader I am, Tony writes. But you know, the market does that. The market does a whole lot of head fakes. Just when you think it's it's strong, you know, to the upside, we'll see that quick little push to the upside, then everybody's hitting the buy market button, and what happens? Well, then, of course, it reverses on itself, and it stops out all those anxious traders, all those traders who thought the market was going to explode higher or lower. Don't don't think for a moment that those things are not happening intentionally. Oh, I see. Tony says he's trading the price line only. Our objective here is to try to figure out essentially what the big boys are doing, right? Because it's the whales that will eventually drive the market higher or lower. Not us. We're not going to do that. But if we can determine which way they're leaning, which way they're going, then of course we can get on board and trade in the same direction. Yeah, Paul says, look, the cloud looks like a squeeze is coming. I have a feeling Paul has a little experience with Bollinger Bands, but you're absolutely correct. Just totally neutral market, dead sideways. I do believe we are without reports today. Just double checking. I don't think there's anything important on the horizon. No. And for tomorrow, no. Peter asking, Eric, what is your scalp target on the NASDAQ? Our scalp target is always $50 per contract. So the NASDAQ trades at $5 a tick, so we have a 10-tick target for scalping. If you were trading the E-mini S&P at $12.50 a tick, you would have a 4-tick scalper's target. $50, it just seems to be the scalper's go-to profit target. You'll see the market turn a lot of times at a $50 value. So if I put a scalp target on, and let's say, like we didn't scalp this one, but let's say we go up here. Oh, that one turned a little premature. But a lot of times you'll see these little runs worth 50 bucks. Let's see, did they try to scalp it on the low? Yeah. It's a comfortable target as well. It doesn't require too much from you. We're getting a little bit of a failure here. You know, the market's still very, very sideways, and it's oh so tempting just to try to punch in a short order here. I'm doing my best to be good today. I was a little sloppy with my trading yesterday, and I apologize for that. I'm trying to be a little bit more disciplined for you here today. Whenever I see a failure, though, when I see a lower swing high, my heart always quickens a little bit because I'm thinking, oh, it's a failure, the market's going to head the other way. The band mildly bullish here. You can see the hawk very, very sideways. The eagle, the band twisted up like a rope. We're just getting a very sideways kind of day today. Really, it's just a continuation of yesterday's trading. All right, well, here's a crossover buy. And there's enough room here that I think they may try to challenge the highs of the morning. So I'm going to give that one a try. See whether the buyers can push through. And the high of the day right now, 57.74 quarter. My profit target just a point above there at 57.75. But we've got ourselves a very balanced market. I think they slipped me a tick on that. They did too, stinkers. It just shows you how thin the market is here right now. this is going to be an important little push here to try to get through these highs. I suppose, you know, I hesitate to point this out because these types of patterns develop over and over again. And I don't want you to get too hung up looking at patterns like this, but some might interpret this as a upside down head and shoulders type formation. The key component here, though, is this last part. The fact that we have a higher swing low, this essentially the test of the extreme being down here, the low of the morning, and now it's looking like the market may try to press higher. All right, so we just tagged the break even. I'm going to force the trade to break even now. Again, I know it may be premature. We're up here against the highs of the morning. I probably would be better off just leaving my stop alone. But why would I do that? Yeah, Peter says, take the scalp. Oh, Peter took the scalp. Good man. Good man. If I were smart, I would too. Let's see, easily got the scalp target. We'll see if I can hold out for that swing. Oh, hi, glad you could make it today, Andres. You haven't missed a whole lot, though. It's been a very subdued session, and I just got tagged at my break-even stop out there. Not a real surprise as the market bouncing off of the high of the morning a little bit. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of participation to the upside at the moment, so we may not get out of this sideways trading range. Andre asking, did you make a lot today? No, that was actually, I think that was the first trade. I had a couple technical issues early on. Actually, you know, today wasn't that bad. I was looking to do this green bar sell signal right here shortly out of the open. It worked out. So we would have profited on that trade. But since then, the market just very, very sideways. Not a lot of follow through on most of our signals. Andres, I get the impression you're a bit of a prankster here. Andres writes, but it's good to buy bottoms and sell tops. And it's easy. Yes, of course. I got that email just the other day. All right, so you can see now we're getting a little bit of follow through. Unfortunately, I took the break-even stop out, so I'm going to have to adjust my break-even parameters somewhat. Hey, way to go. Andre says I made 1% of my balance and have one runner on in the Euro US dollar pair. Well done. Yeah, the NASDAQ, like I say, a little subdued today. Kind of still stuck in yesterday's sideways range. They don't seem to be really committed one way or the other. Here we can see the block of buying that went through, caused that little bit of a rally. Not quite the follow through I would have expected from such a lopsided bunch of orders. So trade forecasters saying we are in trend mode for about a half an hour. We'll see whether anything comes of that. Right now the market trying to be a little bit more bullish. Haven't really gotten any follow-up signals though since that initial move higher. Perhaps a macro pullback signal here in the Hawk would be a welcome signal, a trendline touch even in the Falcon. I don't think the Raptor will retreat enough to give us a hard edge bounce. But we are sitting at the top end of the trading range. And so that might knock them down a little. In which case we may get a counter trend signal here on the Raptor. That would be our number 2 signal, the soft edge sell. Um, I'm also noticing the width of some of these bars. We got a lot of orders going through here. Just look at the size of the orders or the volume of orders going through at these levels. So far, there's zero follow through. Yeah, Andres, you're right. The market does chop, and that seems to be the rule here for today and yesterday's trading. Very choppy, very sideways.
Order pending.
So we've got a little bit of a macro pullback signal here now.
Order
Maybe a little, I don't know if we're going to get that retest of the extreme or if prices are just going to slip gradually lower, which they tend to do in quiet markets as well. Andre says, was a tough day for me too. The Euro-US dollar pair is hard to trade these days. Had a drawdown, but patiently waited for the setup. Good for you. That's how you want to trade. In a couple of weeks, we will be into the summer trading, and it can be, we can experience a lot of days like this, where the market's just reluctant to do anything, really, except range up and down and up and down. All right, we're witnessing a little bit of a bullish push here. Note the Geiger counter was pulled hard over here to the short side. So we just had a bunch of sell orders go through the market. We'll see whether or not those get absorbed by the buyers or if, in fact, we're going to see a couple of ticks lower here. Well, they tried to get a little bit bullish there for a second. I thought we were going to see a tiny little test of the extreme, but no, not yet. Right now, they're just going to continue to slide a little lower. And you know what? That's just going to be the way things unwind today. If you're going to continue trading today, I would suggest, well, mildly bullish is good because the markets seem to be always heading higher, but we do also appear to be stuck in the sideways trading range. So you may want to look for buy opportunities off of the lows and selling opportunities off of the highs. But right now, anyways, for this leg, the sellers seem to have a little bit more control of the market. All right, gang, I'm going to button up shop here for the day, and we'll get back again tomorrow, do it all over again. Talk to you then. Bye for now.